Alright, what is poppin', people? We're back, and week 8, I believe this is, of SCL, recently concluded. We only have 4 games to go over today, because the game between Roger Blutar and Siri ended up just being an act loss for Roger Blutar, so just, you know, a little note ahead of the video actually getting underway, that I'm not going to get the standard 5 battles to look at, but that's alright. We still got 4 to go through. And we do see, I would say in a lot of these games, at least just continued, I'm not going to say innovation, because I feel when you say innovation, there needs to be some sort of like long-term continuity. Oh, this music is too loud. Wow. Okay. By too loud, I mean it's popping up as maybe as loud as me on the volume mixer, and we've had some issues there. But I'm not gonna say it. I feel like when you say something was like getting innovated, it needs to actually hold on more than like one tour game. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to become mainstream, but I do expect to actually see some meaningful-ish usage thereof in more than one scenario, or more than one just environment. And as we get underway with this game, right, not TDK, that's later. Kushalos Sensei Axus. Sensei Axus has been having a really strong tour performance so far. I believe he was like, what, I think 5-2 or something at some point? Maybe coming into this week. He was, I know he's been doing quite well this tour, and Kushalos has been also about around, I think he's been around there in terms of his record too. I think he's only got 2 losses and otherwise has started every week. So I think this might just be 2 people that are 5-2 going at it. I don't remember. I haven't been keeping too up to date with like specific records with people, more just like trends. So like I know, say for instance, Hoenn confirmed. He was on like a 4-game losing streak coming into this week after starting off 3-0. Like I can at least remember that. But it's harder for me to just remember, you know, exact records for people, but I can remember roughly where they are, at least placement-wise. Anyhow, getting into this. So, Sensei Axus, just looking at history real quick, we do see another Scrafty. Again, this isn't necessarily a Pokemon that's, you know, getting a whole bunch of traction now. I think it's more people, since NU right now only has like 2 dark types actually tiered NU, I think people are trying to explore a little bit more with that dark type slot and just seeing like what other options are there. So like you've seen on Arceus bring Absol, we've seen Scrafty in a couple of games, we've seen Sneasel get a decent amount of usage too. So I think people do just want to see, okay, in this tier where ghost switch-ins are kind of limited, what other options maybe can I find to try to help out there? And I do think Scrafty's a pretty good one. And considering like the teams Kushalos has brought, I think it's a pretty decent matchup pick as well. And he has favored these more like slower balance builds, against which Scrafty does have a pretty good time. So I don't dislike the pick at all here. Now, obviously the main issue for it would be, haha, Vileplume plus Sylveon, have fun. Looking at this kind of team from Kushalos, I do think you could look at it and say Choice Spec Sylveon. You know, the team's natural breaking power otherwise is pretty much limited to Tyrantrum Ground Valley. And looking at Kushalos' team, we do end up getting confirmation on the set, but I think you could also rationalize that he'd be bringing Choice Scarf, Stealth Rock, Tyrantrum again. It's a set that he's brought quite frequently, and this team that he has this game is really slow. So it does open up Scarf T-Trum, and since he's favored it with rocks, well, I think it's fine to assume that as well, which obviously would then say probably Iron Press Bronzong. You know, the Vileplume is just whatever the hell set it wants to be. So Valley Ground, U-Turn or Flame Charge, both would be fine here. I mean, again, there's some of it just comes down to your team preference. I think Valley Ground with U-Turn does synergize quite well with Spec Sylveon, which, you know, I am expecting it to be on this kind of team. Just because, again, more breaking power I think is really good here. But you could honestly also justify Flame Charge, I suppose. You already have the Bronzong as your sort of win con, if you want to look at building from that perspective of like, okay, you know, speed control, win con, wall breaker to help that, you know, etc, etc. So maybe you just say it's U-turn because he doesn't need another mod that's role is maybe more focused around sweeping. Again, it doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, the Mantine is just going to be whatever the hell. I do imagine, again, we're going to get the mirror matchup with Ground Valleys. And then, yeah. I would definitely say, in this kind of game, that I do enjoy Kushalos' shot of winning a little bit more than Sensei Axus. I feel Sylveon does not really struggle at all to get onto the field and wreak havoc this game. Part of it's because the Silvally ground synergizes really well with it in this game in particular. The Articuno and Talonflame obviously don't really want to risk switching into that. Because, you know, you get caught by Rock Slide once, okay, good night. And so otherwise, like, what, you're going Vaporeon every time? If you're predicting... It's not even that you're going Vaporeon predicting multi, you're going Vaporeon because it's, like, your best mid-ground. And we have seen those Vaporeon versus Sylveon sequences. If that Vaporeon catches too much damage and is ever weakened before it has to switch into Sylveon later on, it does not become good. You know, Hyper Voice consistently is essentially dealing the damage which heals. So, anyhow, let's actually start playing this. This is a game I've watched, so hopefully I can actually keep up a little bit with what's going on. There will be a sequence where we put it on fast. I'll let y'all know that right now. So we see the Silvally ground, and then the Articuno Galar. Now, you don't get the U-turn versus this. At least I don't think you ever do. I don't think you risk the speed tie. Now, Articuno Galar in NU, obviously it's not a very commonly used mon, but when it's been used, it's done essentially the PU set, right? Future Sight, Hurricane, U-turn, Recover. I guess you could honestly try to stay in here and go for a Rock Slide if you're Kushalos, if you really just want to play with fire. But given you have Mantine plus Bronzong, I don't think you ever need to bother. Okay, I'm just not as good as Kushalos apparently, and he does go for that. Look, I said I watched this game. Doesn't mean I remember every turn. But he makes a really good play there. And he goes for another Rock Slide because, I mean, hell, the Kuno always has to go for Recover. And we do see also this Vaporeon's being Roar. And again, you see this damage on Sylveon. Does confirm what I was saying at the beginning of preview. This does end up being Specs. And because the Sylveon is so low, he doesn't want to risk the Vaporeon actually just trading hits versus it. You know, Scald will make much more progress against a Spec Sylveon compared to if it was some Cleric set. And the Ground Valley comes out. I want to say, looking at this damage here, that this Vaporeon is maybe more physically defensive than the standard that a lot of people like, which is, you know, some special bulk at least. I want to get confirmation on that because I don't want to be speaking out of my ass too much. That's Silvally Grass. It's not the right kind. Okay. Let's get this one. Multi 38 to 45. Yeah, okay. So that's to the specially defensive one. This only did 36. So he is probably Bizdef. Which I think is fine when you've got Diancie plus Scrafty on your team. You don't really need the extra special bulk, I don't think. I mean that more in like the sense of like general special wall type mon, right? That was a lot of words that I'm not sure made any sense together. Basically, I don't think you need the special bulk of Vaporeon because you have other mons that can help keep up with special attacks for you. And on this team, which Silvally Ground matches quite well into, you do, I feel, favor the insurance physical bulk gives you. And because Vaporeon, you know, low physical defense stat, really high HP stat, you do get a lot of mileage out of investing into your physical defense. Because Pokemon math works like that. Anyhow, the Silvally also reveals to be U-turn, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, again, we're going to see Vileplume just sit in front of this Vaporeon forever. Even if it doesn't have Giga Drain, there's not really anything this does. You know? Also, I guess something worth noting, this is not Heal Bell on Vaporeon, so you probably imagine it's going to be Heal Bell on Diancie. Otherwise, you are running a team with, you know, Scrafty always having to be your status response, which I think is fine enough. But, I don't really favor that. I don't really favor that. You know, we see the Silvally trade multis, and then Kushalos also reveals that he is Levitate Bronzong this game, which I do think matches quite well against Sensei Axus. You know, Heat Proof would help versus T-Flame, I guess, but Talon seldom runs a fire move anyway. Also, so here's where I would actually note innovation, and we're just going to play this because this is where the turns start becoming not too important. Shadow Ball Bronzong is something that's been popping up over the past couple of weeks. I'd say since like mid-October. We've been seeing a lot more Shadow Ball Bronzong across all sets, be it Stealth Rock or Iron Defense. And it's just really nice because these Pokemon like Articuno, for instance, are a lot of time teams' response to Bronzong. You know, something that eats up body press and then just can sit in front of it and basically force it to rest. Not rest. Waste power points. I guess also, you know, force it to rest. But that's not the important part here. You know, obviously, generally, it's Xatu that you're going to see, not an Articuno Galar, but also other ghost types. You got, like, your Golurks, your Decidueyes, your Palosands. I've seen usage, and they do play a similar role in blanking body press and in forcing Bronzong maybe to just switch out. And Shadow Ball could also get a little bit of damage on those. I would say it's particularly nice against some of those mons as well. I guess Golurk, really, where Toxic is not overly helpful. You know, Toxic's may be better against Decidueye or Palossand because those can run recovery moves. Palossand pretty much always having one. Whereas with Golurk, you do just favor getting some damage off on it. And then, you know, with Xatu, Shadow Ball's even really nice on Stealth Rock sets, helping you. And I'm not gonna say it helps you force Stealth Rock up against Xatu. It's more that you don't become this just consistently free switch in, which you otherwise are. And I guess to harken back to what's actually happening here, the special defense drop on the Articuno is definitely hurting Sensei a little bit here. Because now the Bronzong's consistently, you know, taking away the health that Recovery gets back. And we'll end up seeing Sensei eventually just concede to the Bronzong. I don't think it's because your Unsighter. It probably is because your Unsighter recovers. Yeah, so we're going to see him recover until he can't no more. And he'll just fire off a Hurricane. I don't know if that was the last recover. It was not. But yeah, he throws off a Hurricane. Actually gets a crit confusion, but Kushalos not hitting himself there is really good. The Vaporeon comes out now, and because he doesn't want to seed his Bronzong yet, he's going to preserve it, and it ends up being a really good play. Particularly when we see what the Silvally Ground set is. It ends up being actually defog, so no SD, no flame charge, so it's actually just not a threat to really do much of anything versus Kushalos' team. And so this Bronzong also going to get more health back there with the Leech Seed. But it's going to be able to stick around for the entire game and just keep on blanking that Silvally Ground. We're going to see two switches here as well. T-Trum comes in versus Scrafty, but, you know, we all know CC ain't killing. And since Kushalos, again, if this is a Scarf Tyrantrum, which it does reveal to be, then the set he runs does not even have CC, so, you know, we're not getting by that Scrafty anytime soon anyway. And we also do see soon, I believe, the reveal of the last move on Vileplume here. But first we gotta see this very, very eventful sequence here of Leech misses into Saps, into just, I mean, yeah, the DNC will never break this Vileplume. So long as eventually you get off the Leech Seed, you are quite literally walling this no matter how many defense boosts it gets. And here I think we actually see Diancie switch out. No, he does stay in here. Okay. And now that the Leech hits, I think you do reveal the Aromatherapy last. Yes, spoiler alert. It is Aroma. He actually saps again. Okay. Go for it here, question mark? Yes, yum up the knock. Delicious. Ah, there it is. Yes, Aromatherapy Vileplume I think fits really well here. Since you're going specs on Sylveon, you still want that Cleric alongside Bronzong and Mantine, I would say, particularly because I'm just assuming that it is rest last on Bronzong. I don't think it gets revealed. But I think that set, it doesn't necessarily mandate a Cleric, it just has a much higher ceiling with a Cleric alongside it. And Spec Sylveon, sure, you can run Heal Bell, but that's just, oh, it's just not a good move to lock into. I'd rather just take the semi-worthless coverage move last and go on with my life. And now we're gonna watch a Vileplume 1v1 this Scrafty, I think. Maybe not 1v1 it, but we're gonna watch the Vileplume essentially force the Scrafty eventually into rest. Yeah, this does give Kushalos his Mantine in, so he can defog away the Stealth Rock pretty easily. You know, it doesn't really matter if the Scrafty goes for knock versus it at +1 attack, it's never breaking the Mantine anyway. And Tyrantrum actually is the one that comes out versus the Vaporeon here. Just to set rocks, which I think is fine. Tyrantrum doesn't do necessarily a whole lot this game. It's most, like, it beats up Talonflame, but that's really kind of it. Yeah, we of course have to, the Talon has to switch out from Vileplume because utility T-Flame just doesn't break Plume. Also, something I do want to, I mean, I guess it is, I don't want to, it's not a criticism of Sensei's team, it's more just, I don't know how well it takes advantage of Future Sight. You know, it gives me kind of similar vibes to the team Hoenn brought earlier in the tour, I think week 2, where you had Future Sight Indeedee plus Dragon Tail Guzzlord. But without spikes, I just generally am not a huge fan of that sort of Future Sight shuffling. It just, I feel you really do want to maximize the efficiency of your phasing, and without like pretty strong hazard support, I don't think you do that. Also, yeah, now I think Savali Ground is about to claim like 7 souls. Vaporeon, after a Protect, it should have a shot to live multi. Maybe it always does. Okay, it does not always. And I mean, yeah, I think at this point we're gonna watch this. Okay, the crit definitely. I mean, this was always gonna be the hardest mon for Sensei to deal with. Oh, I see. I did not remember the Rock Slide miss. Oh, he's Flame Charge Talon. Okay. So, this does make me a little bit... This is a weird reason to feel a little bit more positive about the Future Sight support. But I do appreciate the extra pressure that this just applies to teams. Because Talon is not a Pokemon that sweeps from high health thresholds very well. Yes, SD makes it less bad about being so weak, but I like how, you know, Articuno Galar is really strong, its Future Sight hits really hard. I like how that can soften up teams pretty well for both of these sweepers. Okay. Again, personal grievance aside, I'm a little bit more okay with this idea. And yeah, Defog Ground Valley. Also, I do like how it fits here on this team, because again, you're never putting Defog on Talonflame if you want to win a game. And, I mean, look, I think you need hazard removal on every team, even if you're doing the 5 boots strat, just because, hey, what if they get knocked? Gotta cover all your bases. But I do like that a little bit more. Okay. That Rock Slide miss is definitely harming Kushalos there right now. I mean, I don't think he really ever loses from this position, right? Iron Defense, Leech Seed, okay, that should take you out of body press damage. Oh, it's a roll, okay. Hey, surely he doesn't lose, right? So Spec Sylveon comes out. He does big damage. I mean, this is gonna do 5 million. Yeah, that does a lot all the time. I don't think you can stall these out. I'm also kind of, I was gonna say, I was half expecting it to get crit eventually. And yeah, at this point, Tyrantrum comes out now and should revenge kill. Ah, the blaster. Okay, honestly, I don't know what all this means. Maybe he said he almost stole the game after the rock slide miss, which, to be fair, yeah, I honestly thought Sensei was about to win. Even though I knew Kushalos won, I still thought Sensei was about to win. Oh, do I have to watch this game? Anyhow, just going back to this one. Again, I don't know. Maybe it is just a personal preference thing, but whenever I run Future Sight, I, one, kind of hate it in NU, because outside... I have a general grievance with like every Future Sight user in NU. If it's Xatu, it's that its Future Sight does very little damage, because Xatu kind of just is weak. And if it's Articuno Galar, or like Indeedee, you know, you're just using a not very good Pokemon. So I feel like you could do something else in that slot a lot of the time. Again, I do like the idea of the really strong Future Sights, supporting some Pokemon that do require a little bit more early prep for them to really get going. I just hate them on. Anyhow, here's a stall game. I did not watch this game, but I have a feeling TDK is about to snack wrap Hoenn. I don't know. I've got this horrible feeling. It's also definitely a Dragon Tail Guzzlord, right? It's like Future Port Xatu, Dragon Tail Guzzlord, Spikes, Stealth Rock, Mon that wants Future Sight support because it invalidates a couple of its checks, and then just random sweeper of the day. This time we opted for Turtonator. I mean, sure. I don't know, I just look at Hoenn's team, and then I look at TDK's team, and I'm wondering about a couple of things. I mean, I don't think it's actually... It's not that unplayable, though, I don't think. Obviously, again, hazards are really good here. You do have to still deal with the Xatu plus potentially Default Articuno. I think you should always be Default Articuno on stall, even with Xatu. If you can get the hazards up, it's good. The nice thing, at least, is that Garbodor will pressure Xatu with potential gunk poisons. That could maybe open up a few turns for you to get your Sirfetch'd in on a forced roost. And while Sirfetch'd isn't like straight breaking through this team, again, like if this is Fizdef, Sylveon, which on here it might not even be, it could be Spadef. But again, like Sirfetch'd can get past Sylveon with whatever coverage move it goes for. Similarly with Tangela, I mean, the last slot is going to be good there. Knock does really heavily pressure Xatu, although in this build, I was gonna say it would be, itemless maybe, but I think Tangela should check the Poltergeisters fine enough, right? Maybe Turtonator does something for you? I don't know how well Quagsire holds up with it. If it's Haze Quag, then... I mean, even then, I think you just boost again versus it. Because it will not OHKO you, I don't believe. So, I mean, maybe you just boost again and just hope. I know Blastoise doesn't beat Quagsire, that's why I'm just not sure if Turtonator does. Turtonator's a little stronger and has Draco at least. We don't know if he's Draco. He could be Dragon Pulse, like, oh, who brought Turtonator last week? Was it Sensei or Confide? Maybe? I don't know. But, again, maybe it's Dragon Pulse. Maybe it was TDK that brought Turtonator, I really don't remember. This just used Covet. And this man pixelate Covet to steal the helmet. That is funny. Oh, and he's Calm Mind, so this is not the standard stored power Xatu that we've been seeing a lot more of lately. This is CM. Now, he could be Double Dance. Actually, no, if he revealed Gleam, he wouldn't be. But just think about Double Dance, so you don't even have to run Policy. That'd be really funny. So we see CM Xatu, so again, it will not be defog on this. Yo, he just Meteor Beamed and actually got it scouted out. That's really funny. We are also watching this Tangela just slowly knock away at this Bronzong's health. Nothing about this game brings me joy. Oh my lord. These are some crackhead sets, man. Alright, so we see Articuno come out now on the Tantrum. Garbodor just Toxic it. This could be Heal Bell. Yeah. Yeah. So that doesn't end up being too bad. Now, fortunately, oh, that crit's really pretty big, because that may have been TDK's like only way of actively threatening to win a game. But this could still end up being stalled out by the Garbodor, especially if Gunk Shot ever lands a poison as well. Then, you know, if you're pressured to heal Bell off a Gunk poison, which I don't think you should ever have to. Look, regardless, Toxic has 14, this has 7. Have that because of pressure, that's still 7. Point being, Garbodor can pressure out those heal balls pretty decently. And the good thing for Hoenn after getting the crit on the Xatu though is he can freely rock up. Hell, he can freely spike up as well. And doing so will help him a lot. Now, this gets into Sirfetch'd. And we're gonna see here, how well does this take a hit? Oh, the answer's really well. That did nothing. That did 24. Yo, this mon doesn't do damage without crits. I'm gonna keep it a full buck with y'all. That mon does nothing. So Sylveon ends up being able to get back to a decent amount. Now the Sirfetch'd can break the Sylveon the next time it comes in, especially if hazards are ever up. And that just expedites the process. And Hoenn is going to do all he can to keep this Articuno under wraps. He is going to be fine to loop him into like Toxic and then Spike on the Heal Bell and Toxic on the Defog, etc, etc. Okay, yeah, that's literally the line that we're seeing right now. Cool. So I have nothing insightful to say about these turns. I think this is Hoenn's best line, because if you get rid of all the Heal Bell power points from this, maybe some good comes of it. This is partly contingent on whether this is... Surely you are not Covet as your only attack. I'm just gonna imagine it as H-Voice last, and then he has Covet because he said to himself, if Articuno is my cleric, I do not need Sylveon to be my cleric. He actually goes for a Gunk there instead of Toxicing again. I'm not too sure that was necessary, but it's fine enough. It doesn't punish him. Yeah, what if he Toxiced again though on that heal? Well, that would have been really funny. Alright, Garbodor's out of Toxics. This is still decent though for TDK, because it means Garbodor can't get a poison off on the Quagsire, which I'm pretty alright with. Now there's another poison user on Hoenn's team though. Oh no! Oh, the Tangless also got Toxic. Cool. You know, Sylveon comes out there. Will we see a heavy slam from the Garbodor? We will. Doesn't even scout it out. I do not mind TDK's game position right now. It is truly not the worst ever. I meant I don't mind Hoenn's game position, by the way. And at this point, this clicks CC a lot, though. Yeah, without a Violite, this can't eat that. Yeah, Hoenn is not in a horrible spot. He actually goes into the Turtonator here. I don't know. Just that did 23. That's actually like pretty good damage. I think Draco could... Okay, no, Draco could never kill. But Draco would be doing over half consistently. And because of Unaware, the special attack drops wouldn't even matter. So you could keep Dracoing at the Quagsire. And yeah, you'd even be faster, because I think you have to go Timid on this. I mean, a question I have right now is, will this Quagsire... Oh, that Toxic Mist is not great. I do wonder, will this Quagsire somehow be able to sit in front of Hoenn's team? I don't think so. Oh no, you're CC food right now. Yeah, I think this is going to be a Sirfetch'd moment. Yeah. Oh, hey, look at Hoenn go. He beat the stall. Did he get some luck? Yes. But I don't think it was game-breaking luck. The Toxic Mist, honestly, I mean, I don't know if it would have been able to be. I don't know if the Sirfetch'd would have been able to be Protect stalled out. Maybe. If it was, maybe. TDK would have won. Because you still have to beat... You're going to be kind of low, I think, with Quag. Let's actually go back. I want to see. I want to see what happens on the Toxic Mist turn. Okay, so... Let's see. This is when we miss Toxic. And obviously it sucks. So you would have gotten 6 there. He'd be at 56. If you hit Toxic as well, then you can stay in and protect. And then that takes you down to 44. You can sack the Articuno. Then it takes it down to 26. And then you go up to Aggron, I think, and protect. Yeah. I think that probably is the line that ends up happening. I don't know if it ends up mattering, because does Garbodor come out, poison the Quagsire, and then still win? I think the miss matters, probably. I'm not going to say TDK was out of it if he hit the Toxic, is basically what I'm going for. Now, obviously, I can't, you know, predict how the turns were going to go, but I can at least count down the turns on this are fetched once it gets Toxic, if he doesn't end up with the miss. I think also the crit versus the Xatu was maybe a little bit of a bad. Right? There was a crit versus Xatu with Shadow Ball or something, if I'm remembering right. Oh, I hate these nicknames, man. I can't tell what anything is. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Maybe Hoenn had special attack investment. And the Shadow Ball... I feel like the Shadow Ball crit probably did matter. I recall that Shadow Ball, at least from no investment, Bronzong does under half. And unless you're like... You'd probably need a pretty decent amount to kill from 65. And obviously getting rid of the Xatu that early is just super impactful, because it means you don't have to ever worry about it bouncing back your rocks again. Definitely a little lucky from Hoenn. Anyhow, next game. Is this another... I think this is just another stall. What the hell? Stop! I'm tired of this shit. Redshot brings a team... I feel like I've seen this team brought this tour already. Didn't Confide bring this? I almost want to check. I really almost want to check. I mean, the sets... What? It's... Sub-bulk up this. If I'm right on this being a team that was brought before, can I predict the sets of sub-bulk up, choice specs... I'm gonna say choice scarf because this team is slow as hell otherwise. Standard Xatu, boring standard this, and then Wish Tech this. And this is a pretty awful Dragalge matchup, I'll be honest. Well, no it's not, because Focus Blast, I assume you have it on specs this, will do 5 trillion to these. So you can still get mileage out of it just fine. And then again, we see like Ditto here. I think it's probably his Defog Xatu with boots. He has no rock. Well, I said he had no rocker. Because I saw Ferroseed, I'm assuming spikes. It could be rocks Ferroseed. It could be even double hazard. It could just be, you know, maybe he has no rocks and just says I only need spikes. I'm honestly wondering if this is just gonna be like Wisp, Bulk, Talon, and then I don't know what the Silvally is on this team. It could be Defog, Silvally, Ground, I suppose? Heal Bell. Ah. And Charm Flash is doing this thing again where he says in chat the sets. Okay. Okay. Come on now. And now the Xatu comes out. And it is Helmet, so again, standard Xatu. That was the prediction. At least Charm Flash can tell me what the sets are in chat. You gonna tell me again? Oh, he is! Yes! Alright, we're fine then. Okay, so this is Psychic Waivers. I do believe... Yes, this was a team brought already. Anyhow, so Dragalge's out. I don't know if that's specs. I don't know if that's specs. Anyhow, same comes out. Gyro, Protect, Leech Seed, and then a Hazard is my guess. Of course, the Xatu can always come out versus the Ferroseed and blanket for pretty much the whole game. I don't love Ferroseed without knockoff, in like mostly because of that reason. Knock doesn't give you a lot of progress versus Zatu, and he had the Audino Knock at this game anyway. It just feels kind of like really rough to never be able to do anything to Zatu. But again, I guess it doesn't really matter if the first knocks, so who fucking cares? There are some other mons you'd like to knock too, I suppose. Like Lazzle, for instance. Or even just T-Wave for that would be cool. I don't know. Ferroseed has a lot of moves that I'd like to run on it. Protect is definitely one of them. Every time I've run Protect, I've just always felt like I needed some other move. There's the cursed set of like Toxic Leech Protect Hazard. That one's funny. And we actually just see this as Acro, so he could be. Oh, you know what? Then I think there's a good shot that this is double defog, and then like, obviously if the Acro, he's itemless, and then like what? This is Acro Wisp bulk up. Those are my predictions. We'll see if I'm right. And now the Jagauge comes back out. Pharaoh will always come in. It's gonna get focused. He misses. So this does make me still, again, he doesn't have to be Specs. Okay, so Charm Flash put the calc in for me. Yeah, okay, so Charm Flash is making a little bit of a fool of himself there. Okay, I'm bantering too much. So Focus Blast, if this is Specs, did kill. Or at worst was a very low chance to not kill. So we'll see, I guess, if this hits a Focused at some point versus Pharaoh, what the, set is. Sub bulk up? Okay, I think I was right that this team has been brought this tour. Cool. Breaks a sub. We're gonna see a Wisp here. Please scout. He did not scout for it. Is looking like this is gonna be Wisp bulk up though with Acro. Okay. Which again also makes me think that he's then double defog. I think you want double defog alongside this. Oh, he's actually just Sword Stance. Okay, that works too. Generally, you do see SD alongside either U-turn if you're going like max HP SD, or you're gonna see like offensive. And then when you see Wisp plus setup move, it's like always bulk up just because it gives you a little bit more leverage around. I'll be honest, I don't know if that gives you much leverage around anything. Because most mons with physical coverage 40, it's like it's like a T-Trum's head smash, right? But again, bulk up, I think Wisp plays a little bit better into a bulk up sets like modus operandi. And yeah, this thing SD is now can actually break the sub really freely. And I'm guessing this is still Flame Body. But if it's, again, since it's Sword Stance, I feel you could beat Gale Wings pretty justifiably. Especially, oh, that crit's bad. But since he's Acro, I would actually am kind of half expecting Gale Wings. Ever since the Gale Wings nerf, you have to be at full to actually get the priority. So Acrobatics means you aren't taking recoil, and you can always have the priority. Anyhow, Talonflame is forced out by Vaporeon because you can't OHKO it with the Acro from that range. And the Aldino's gonna come out, knock the lefties. I would guess here, then you're just gonna see this Wish. Yeah, maybe he tries to pass to Talon? No, why would you try to pass to Talon? It's on a Scald. He has that to Ditto. Oh, that's very large brain, because now he goes for Wish again. And now he goes to, sure, this. And I was right, Silvally Ground. I don't know if I said Silvally Ground out loud, but that is what I thought. Again, I'm just assuming this is going to be Defog. I guess it could even just be Defog, Silvally Ground, and then just, the Xatu to bounce hazards. That would work as well. And Vaporeon does get the Scald Burn on Dino, and it's not overly important. But it is not the worst thing ever, I suppose. And he is going to just throw off a Scald instead of going into Xatu, actually, as the Ferroseed comes out. This is a good play. And now the Gouge comes in on the Ditto, and he's going to focus here, right? Yeah. And that is 73, so I am assuming that is Specs damage, because I can't imagine something with Aldino's bulk is taking like 36, 37 from a non-super effective focus. Also, both the Xatus in this game are just, like, quite high value. Over here, we get to see a Xatu try to shut down a Gallerfisk, whereas this one gets shut down a Ferroseed, which I think is pretty cool to see. Just more Xatu dominance. Is that actually all that cool? No. But it doesn't matter. I decide what's cool around here. This is always gonna get to protect the scout here, but I think you still focus anyway. Draco's fine too. Ferroseed's at full, which is kind of annoying. But Dracoing it puts it in range of a Focus Blast. On the upper, or on, yeah, you just need to get, like, not the min roll when it's at 64, and I believe you kill. This wishes again. He goes out the Gallerfisk here, which I'm a little surprised by. I thought maybe he'd go Dragalge, just to threaten the, yo, he's the snapper. Yeah, I thought maybe he'd go Dragalge just to threaten on a Wish Pass with Focus. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter. He goes for Wish here. I think you do stay in, because you don't want this too low. And then maybe Wish Pass to Dragalge. The problem with that is you do risk getting your specs knocked. Now, if you're the Passimian, I don't think you mind too much about losing your Scarf. It kind of sucks to not outspeed Ground Valley or a Gale Wingsless Talon, though, so maybe you want to keep it. It's like, it's both good and bad, because against Stall, generally if you have a choice, like, generally if you have a Scarfer at least, Breakers you're maybe more okay with keeping the choice item on to power through. But with Scarfers, it's like, you don't generally get too much value out of your Scarf, because Stall team's, you know, typically pretty slow. So if you can get it knocked, you're pretty content with that. Again, I just feel like because of Charm Flash, how he constructed this build, or whoever built it for him, I don't know if he made it himself, but because of how this team is made, there is still some merit to keeping the Scarf around, you know. So it's like a very annoying spot Rinchon it feels in. No, Dino comes out, dodges the Focus again. This Dragalge needs some new glasses because it is missing like every one of these. That one didn't really matter at all to miss. It's more just like, hey, what if I get a crit and make up for the miss that I had on Ferroseed? Now Ferroseed can always protect here. He actually goes for a knock. Knock is not bad to get on Ferroseed if you ever can. Now, he will never give him a knock, but if you can somehow Venmo Charm Flash enough money to stay in on Passimian's knock, that's pretty good. You know, we see some doubles. If Vaporeon gets him versus the Ground Valley, this is a free Wish. I'm wrong, it was a free Scald. Yeah, I mean, I think Wish was pretty low drawback. You can get Dragalge back to full or something. Oh, he's going Passimian here. I mean, this is Heal Bell, so it doesn't really matter. You know, this is stole twice in 1 week. Stop that. God bless you, Hoenn, for winning this game in 51 turns. Absolute man of the people. This game is at 62 now, and it's not even close to being over. My throat's sore. I'm getting tired talking about these two people switching around their bonds. Although I do want to say, Stall and Inu. This whole gen has been kind of bad, so it is kind of cool to see it pick up at least a little bit lately. I know Maryberry or Nutiel, if you weren't aware, by the way, I'll congratulate her. But Mary has been probably one of the more consistent users of Stall throughout this gen. Not saying she's like built only Stall and used only Stall, of course. She's brought several non-Stall teams. But I think she's probably one of the more frequent builders of it. All excited to say like Danny, I guess, if I'm thinking of another one of my room off. You know, she had been talking recently in the Discord about, you know, Stall is a valid playstyle in NU. And well, hey, some of its usage right now in SCL is showing people are very willing to try out Stall. So seeing it twice in 1 week, horrible for me because I have to commentate over a Stall battle. And that's not any fun. Because at a point, it's like, oh, they're double switching around! It's crazy! Oh, he's Earthquake Passimian too, okay. And that's not bad, it's just, I feel like most people have left that set in, in last gen. You know, Earthquake's, it's definitely valid if you want to actually reliably revenge kill Salazzle. I just still like Rock Slide. Too many people are willing to go Talon versus you. there's obviously the line of thought that, hey, if you have knockoff, you're still essentially crippling Talon for the whole game, but what can I say? I want to remove the bird outright. And yeah, like we saw earlier. But, okay, I guess he had already, yeah, he already got the wish off, or not the wish, the heal bell off for this. But like we were saying, this being heal bell means that the Simeon being burned earlier wasn't actually a problem. This is like the third miss for focus. We're at 40% hit rate. Please tell me that that move is good. You can't convince me. We also haven't seen Dragalji's last move, and while I'm just assuming it is a poison move, hey, let's pretend like it could be something else. What if he's flip turned without poison stab? What if Renchan has decided that it does not matter if I have a poison move or not, the enemy team will always have a steal, and I'll never get to click it? And yeah, he's Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave Blast. This has missed 4 Focus Blasts! Just remember, if Renchan hit that Focus versus Ferroseed, in all likelihood, it was dead. You know, again, Charm Blast showed the just max special attack Dragalji calc. It was doing 42, I think, minute said, and Ferroseed was at like 64. So throw in the choice specs boost, probably just don't min roll and you kill. So, if Ferroseed was gone, Renchan would pretty much have already won the game. I mean, obviously it's kind of dumb to say that because, you know, oh, Charm Flash will play differently. But there is not a single mon switching into Dragalji once this mon is dead. Dragon Pulse damage rolls versus Audino show that it's in all likelihood getting to it KO'd. I'll say now this is out of focuses. I mean, it has one more, but now it's out of focuses. You know, even just, he would have been able to just Draco, essentially, every turn. You know, throw off your Draco versus the Audino the first time. I think he honestly could have stayed in and looked to see. Oh no, he's on too. I'm stupid. I was gonna say, yeah, just CC again on the Talon, but no. Yeah. If the Ferroseed were gone, Audino is not going to hold up versus Draco, and Dragalji can... I will say this much, it's not like Dragalji gets a whole bunch of turns to switch in versus Charflash's team. It's mostly been coming in off of pivoting and good doubles by Ren. At least I don't know how it's come out so many times if it wasn't on some doubles. Everything's starting to turn into a bit of a blur. And it kind of feels like at this point Renchan is just opting to lose very slowly. I mean, I just don't know how you break. Yeah, so this ended up only connecting 3 out of 8. That's really unlucky. Because again, look, a lot of the time that this Audino was coming in, it was getting a wish, for instance. But, hey, if he can dodge focus, then Renchan can crit. So, I guess for that reason, you know, the game isn't necessarily over. Who's to say this Dragalji can't Draco crit the Ferroseed once or twice? And we see a whole bunch more switches here. I mean, yeah, Galarfisk also was a very unfortunate queue because you've got Zatu'd. Now, it's not that this mon can't do anything to Zatu. We see people run Sludge Bomb to try to, you know, fish for poison. But this mon, it has a lot of moves it wants to run. You know, between Snap Trap, Protect, Sludge Bomb, Rock Slide, Thunder Wave, and of course, Earthquake and Stealth Rock are always going to be run on it. So it is a little bit difficult at times, I guess, to decide on which moves exactly you want. And there will always be a little bit of opportunity cost no matter which way you end up going. This is toxic, by the way. This team is no fun. How dare you. I'm gonna put this on fast. Let's see if this gets us through the game any quicker. Simeon gets the wish back. I mean, he'd have to get, like, a knock on the Zatu to make any meaningful progress, I think, versus it. I mean, there do feel like there have been some potential outs for Renchan. He actually gets a bird on this, it's funny. I don't think it matters, but hey. This is what we call chip. I do think, like, what, if he had Passimian knock the Zatu at some point, then maybe that could have been good. because we, you know, SM and Ucalx knockoff from past Azatu does do respectable enough damage. He actually does get the Scarf knocked there. That's not the worst. Unfortunately, we know his whole set, so Talon is a very free switch into it, especially if it's at full. It is never being threatened by CC. And yeah, those little twiddly dink knocks are not going to matter, my man. I think maybe if he kept onto his Scarf and had knocked the Xatu and gotten like a couple of plays right on it, there could have been an out. The issue is, of course, you have to predict between these two, the Talon and Xatu, always. And so it is kind of hard to guarantee. Ooh, yeah, this is 85. Oh my lord, if the Pharisee hadn't dodged. But if he had been able to pick off the Xatu somehow, right, just getting through some decent luck. Also, when he, when he was scarfed, he can at least threaten us with CC if it ever wants to switch in. And yeah, Ren does stay in there, in part, I think, just because he's trying to fish for, the, like, Leech miss. It's not over. It really is not over. This Talon can still win. Not Talon, the Dragalge can still win. Just because the Pharisee has been able to be weakened so much, there is an out. You're gonna port here, you're gonna get Vaporeon in. He's gonna Wish. Scald. I think you always have to go Dragalge though. The problem is if Dragalge gets knocked by Aldino, I don't... Okay, that knock does less than I thought it did. Alright. There were times Xatu was a little lower than that. Maybe you look for a knock on one of those turns. Yeah, Dragalge has to keep its specs, otherwise it doesn't really break anything anymore. So, right now we're just trying to see, can Ren pilot his Dragalge into a position where it actually gets to do something? Yes. So again, here you get the Dragon Pulse, and you still have a lot of those. Oh, that does 49 only. Hey though, if he crits the Aldino, then that's really good. Hey, that's not a crit. So now we go back out to this. Let's go. And yeah, he always has to make these, like, very annoying doubles. You know, they don't do a whole lot. It's not that they don't do a lot. It fucking screeched. Rocks, foul play, Snapchat, and Snapchat? Oh no. Snapchat and Screech. I think Ren even mentioned something in the new Discord. I didn't know what it was in reference to, but he mentioned having Screech on something. I guess it was his Galarfisk. I don't know what it was to trap, but he said it was for something. Oh my lord. Dragalge gets back out. Oh my god, and he misses Drake on the Aldino. Wow. Hey, you know what though? Well played on Renchon for not mental booming in chat during the scam. Especially with how bad the luck was. Oh. Oh my lord, and we still have another game. Well, you know what? I guess you guys can't be too upset about it. Only 4 games. We got one stall game that essentially took the time of 2 normal games. Anyhow, Confined versus on Arceus, we see a Frostlass balance. So, I made a VR post recently saying Frostlass should be ranked somewhere on the VR. Because HO builds with it have been pretty... I'm not going to say they've been frequently brought in SCL, but on average they've been brought once a week. And then, you know, again, on average Frostlass has been brought once a week. I think even more because of this game. I think it was 8 uses prior to week 8. So, hey, now it's at 9. And Awen actually made a follow-up post saying yes, he agrees, and he thinks Frostlass is just, in general, a really applicable spiker on teams. You know, saying he thinks it's better than Garbodor even, because it's just got a lot of good tools. Through all the status moves, taunt, you know, if you're running on HO's, Icy Wind is really good speed control. You know, it even has some good offensive moves like Poltergeist and Triple Axle. So, seeing one of those builds here is pretty cool. Again, I am going to always assume this is a Silvally ground, because which other one are you running? And on Arceus' team, It's unviable because he has 2 Pokemon the same type, but twice over. Oh, 3 times over? That's horrible unviable. That's a joke. Would this be a team you go Water Absorb Quagsire on? Otherwise, your ability to switch into any water type is really bad, so I really want to say this is Water Absorb. But I have this horrible sinking feeling that it is still going to be unaware. Anyhow. If this is sub-bulk up Braviary, it does have a pretty reasonable matchup. Not a great one, but a reasonable one. Actually, yeah. Because you don't know, this might not be Iron Defense, it could be Rock's status, Body Press, Attack. You know, whether it's like Psychic, Shadow Ball, any other move. It could be Protox Rocks with Body Press or Psychic, stuff like that. There's definitely Scarf here. What if this is Cosmic Power Xatu? That set's been getting a lot of usage. It's not even that good though this game. Frostlass plus potential Scarf Rotom Mow, and then Guzzlord at least kind of slows it down a little. It's not really any good for that. My guess is CB Golurk. Or some other damage boosting move. Also, this has no Dark Resist. Ooh, that's a little worrying. This Guzzlord goes in. Knockoff is free. Let's just play and see how it goes. We see a Frostlass lead versus the Rotom Mow. We see a very powerful dodge. It actually does also just straight KO. Wow. That's Specs? Ain't no way that's Specs. Frostlass. Are you Spikes? Sure. Let's say it's... So if he is just max special attack, max speed, yeah, that was a high roll Leaf Storm then. Unless he's like Specs. Oh, wrong game. But he does get his 1 Spike up. We do see this ends up being heat proof, and this is a nasty plot Rotom Mow. Ooh. I like... Oh, he's... Yo. The optimal coverage move. Now, he does end up getting locked into this. So Braviary walls him now. But he gets rid of Rotom Mow. That might be CB. That is CB Braviary, yeah. Okay. Alright, might be. We're back. I had to go help move a refrigerator out of the garage. Anyhow, where were we? Oh yes, the Braviary revealed CB. Why is... Yo! My frame rate. Okay, there we go. We're good. You know, yeah, the Braviary revealed to be CB. The damage onto the Bronzong. Then Braviary switches out in the Bronzong as he switches to the Talon. 5 switches from Talon to Guzzlord. And the Bronzong talks. Okay, but now we're in. And that is definitely not CB damage, I could tell you that much. There's a Guzzlord. Okay, he's Rest. Maybe Rest Talk 2 attacks. I can see that. So the Quag is probably going to be a really good stop to the Guzzlord. I'm going to ignore the name of the Quagsire too. I don't think it deserves to be acknowledged. Toxic's there again. Oh, he's Dragon Tail. So yeah, we just see a Detail Guzz plus Spikes here. That will limit the Quag a pretty decent amount. And now the Golurk comes out. Defensive Guzz does answer this mon really well. Yeah. Super effective, by the way. It doesn't even do half. Or it barely does half. That is actually really wild. And now Xatu comes out. He's got a double in the Talon there. And then he's going to go back into Rotom. Rotom's not bad this game still, despite being quote-unquote crippled by the Scarf. He's actually still Volt Switch too. So, I mean, he's kind of content, I want to say. What if he's Hex plus Volt Switch? What if he's Trick on his Rotom mode too? I'm gonna not speak that into existence any further, because it'd be a little bit offensive of a set. And he has actually even Scout for the Gleam there. And he doubles right back into the Guzz as the Bronzong comes out. Good, good. No, I mean, yeah, we're knocking or resting here. He knocks the Quag. This is gonna go for cover. Rotom-Mow actually, I mean, it doesn't blank the Quagsire, but it also switches in pretty well to it. Hey. Okay, Volts. I thought I mean, again, he could be no Leaf Storm, I guess. I don't think you'd ever be that, but hey. Also, just FYI, this Golurk's CC damage is most definitely choice banned, so he is, like, 2 banded mons. Yo, what? No, I was wrong. Right as I said that, I actually thought to myself, wait a minute. Isn't it EQ that sometimes... No, EQ does, like... So I want to calc this, because I remember calcing EQ from CB Lurk versus Defensive Guzz before and being really disappointed. So I think I'm just mixing up my calcs. Yes! That is... Okay. That was the calc I was mixing up. Close Combat does much more. Okay. Okay, cool. We just mixed up the calcs. That also would be a little bit wild, though, if, the Lord was barely taking any damage from a super effective move. Like, Brody is bulky, but he ain't that bulky. Also, since this is unaware, or not unaware, since this is cursed, is there really a good shot at being water absorbed? Because he could also be unaware and then be cursed Quag just as a means to for sure get through an Iron Press Bronzong. Maybe. Hard switching there tells me he's probably not U-turn. When the Guzzlord comes out, he's again, this Mon will never let Quag do anything. And we see another good double from Confide. It looks like he's just gonna sack the Xatu in response. And Ground Valley just comes right back out, pretty much always forcing this out. I lied because he goes into this. He actually gets a miss. I just want to highlight that his whole ass computer turned off. Yeah, that miss sucks. Still eats the Brave Bird up though. Flinch? No. Yeah, that miss is really bad then. Braviary is still alive when it shouldn't be. And Volt is kind of free here. Bronzong is a good middle ground. You know, can take the Volt switch still. Lets him keep Braviary around as well. But now this is just going to rest up. The main worry I would have at this point if I'm Confide is I don't know if you beat Quag. And he is going to get in on the rest. And this is a free CC. So you have to rest. He has to hope for a rest talk on an attack. Do we get it? And we do. Alright. Confide got the Dragon Tail off there. And attack boost is pretty irrelevant unless this is actually water absorb. And he is playing the Rotom like he has Leaf Storm. And he does. Okay, good. He was not Volt Switch, Hex, Trick, and B. That would have been a little bit wild, but hey. He never revealed Leaf Storm at any point. I thought maybe there was a shot. And part of it, too, was just because since he had... I don't know. I was a little surprised to see Volt Switch with Plot and Hex. You know? I wasn't too sure what was happening at that point. Everything felt like a possibility. Leave me alone. Anyhow, this has been over an hour of me watching people play with Stall. I'm glad we got a fun match to end it on. I hope y'all enjoyed this more than I did to actually have to watch it. It was still good games, but oh my lord, that third game. I feel bad for Renchon. That was tough. This game was also kind of interesting. We had the Stall build come out victorious here, but here, sure, there was some luck, but it was put down. I think we're gonna have to make Quagsire the thumbnail, right? I mean, neither of the Stall teams had a single shared Pokemon other than Xatu, but I don't want to make it Xatu. So we're gonna make it Quagsire. Because guess what? Quag had 2 uses, and it lost each time. But that's fine enough for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace. Hey, I pressed the stop recording. Didn't go to my OBS screen before I did, so it didn't work. Alright, this time, for real. I'll catch you next time.